Welcome back, everyone, to Star Wars Abridged. We are back today going through Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire. We took a little bit of a break in the last video to talk about the canon novel that ties into Jedi Survivor, which that book was called Jedi Battle Scars. But today we're in Chapter 8 of Heir to the Empire. In Chapter 7, we learned that Han, Luke, and Leia were attacked by a group of alien creatures. And in this chapter, we are back onto the Chimaera with Thrawn, Pellaeon, and C'Baoth. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So, Chapter 8, as I said, starts out back in Captain Pellaeon's point of view. He is in Thrawn's command room on the Chimaera, and Jorus C'Baoth is also in the room. Thrawn is sitting in his Admiral's chair, admiring some of the holographic art pieces that we saw in Chapter 1. Thrawn then speaks and asks Pellaeon if they all died except for the leader. Who they are talking about, we don't know yet. Pellaeon confirms and says that they don't know what went wrong. Thrawn then asks for a report from Wayland, which, as a reminder, is where C'Baoth is from and where Mount Tantus is that Thrawn was interested in. However, the dismissal of the death of the group of people they were talking about makes C'Baoth mad. He is upset that the group of Nagri that has died is simply being pushed to the side. He says that Thrawn promised him Jedi. And this is kind of the first clue as to who the group of people are that they were talking about at the beginning of this chapter. Thrawn says that the Jedi will be delivered to C'Baoth, and then he asks Pellaeon again about the Wayland report. Pellaeon says the schematics for the cloaking device that they were looking for are complete, but that it will be a very expensive project for them to build, especially with the Empire's resources obviously not as good as they were before the Battle of Endor. And Thrawn then says that the device won't be used for the Chimaera, and that they will instead be going to Sluis Von to get what they need. Now, Sluis Von is a New Republic shipyard where they have tons of all kinds of different ships. Thrawn also says that they will need a minimum of 40 mole miners, and mole miners are just a mechanism used for mining. Pellaeon takes note of the Grand Admiral's request and also tells Thrawn that 80% of the Sparty cylinders are functional at Mount Tantus. C'Baoth asks what Sparty cylinders are, and Thrawn says it is the other technology he was in search of. Pellaeon also reveals that Mount Tantus's power and defense systems are operational. This pleases Thrawn. Thrawn tells Pellaeon to instruct the people on Mount Tantus to bring the Sparty cylinders to full operational status, and then Thrawn reveals that the Death's Head is on its way and that they are transporting scientists as well as 200 Salamiri to the Chimaera. Pellaeon then asks about Luke and Leia. Thrawn says they'll use Team 4 next, so this kind of confirms that the group of aliens on Bimasari that attacked Luke, Leia, and Han were Thrawn's Nagri. They were a team of Nagri, and that's the same species as Rook is, so he had an entire team of them on Bimasari attacking Luke, Han, and Leia. And Thrawn now says that he is sending another team, Team 4, after them. C'Baoth gets really upset at this because he thinks that Team 4 will not get the job done and it will turn out just like Team 8. They will all be killed. C'Baoth tells Thrawn to let him go after Luke alone, but Thrawn says that he needs C'Baoth to help keep things coordinated when they get the ships from Sluis Von. C'Baoth is still not pleased, and when Pellaeon sees tensions are rising, he cuts in and suggests that they get Luke while also taking care of the shipyard at the same time. This kind of not really confuses Thrawn and C'Baoth, but they don't really know what Pellaeon's plan is. So Pellaeon goes on to say that they could maybe start rumors of C'Baoth's existence somewhere else, on a remote world, sparsely populated, where the New Republic and Luke might be like, oh, we hear that there's a Jedi out here, and Luke, at this time you have to remember, Luke thinks that he and Leia are the only two left of the Jedi. So, in Pellaeon's mind, when Luke hears of C'Baoth's existence, he's going to come searching for him. So Luke will get wind of that and will want to seek C'Baoth out. While they are finding a suitable planet for C'Baoth to be on and getting the rumors started of C'Baoth's existence there, C'Baoth will help with the shipyard. It's a win-win in Pellaeon's eyes, and Thrawn also agrees, and it takes C'Baoth a minute, but he also agrees too. C'Baoth leaves the room and Pellaeon is about to go as well. Thrawn tells him to make sure to closely monitor Mount Tantus and the Sluis Vaughn operation. They will together create the key to overcoming the New Republic. The point of view then switches to Han's for the rest of the chapter. He, along with Luke and Leia, are back on Coruscant in a debriefing about what went down on Bimasari. Thalia, who we saw in one of the earlier chapters, is upset that Han brought the crew back empty-handed before negotiating with the Bims, but Admiral Akbar, who as we previously learned does not like Thalia, says that it was a smart decision for Han to err on the side of caution. It is then revealed that the Nagri are not in any of the Old Republic or Empire's records on Coruscant, and also as an important side note, the New Republic doesn't actually know that the aliens were Nagri yet. They're still referring to them as gray, unidentified alien species. Basically, for the next little bit, there is some small talk about how and why the Nagri targeted Leia, and how their records could have been erased from the New Republic database, and then Mon Mothma reveals that Han, Luke, and Leia are set to go back to Bimasari tomorrow. This shocks Han and Leia both, and it is revealed that they will have more security with them this time. However, that wasn't what was their main concern. Leia and Han both talk to Mon Mothma about Leia and her Jedi training, and they say that she needs to continue her training, and that Leia was going to actually request a leave of absence for a little while so that she can focus on that. Mon Mothma says that that simply is not possible, but maybe in 8 to 9 months she can do that once they have more ambassadors, more negotiators, just more people in the New Republic, and things are a little more established. Mon Mothma adjourns the meeting, and as they are leaving the room, Han looks very distressed. Leia asks him what's wrong, and he says that life was easier when they were fighting the Empire, without all of the politics going on with starting the New Republic and a bunch of disagreements from people in high power. He just feels like he's being betrayed by some people in the New Republic. Leia urges Han to come on with her and says that they need to see if 3PO has been cleaned up. And with that, that wraps up Chapter 8. They are set to go back to Bimasari, but the next chapter we will be back with Thrawn and Pellaeon and C'Baoth on the Chimaera. I hope you enjoyed this chapter of Heir to the Empire. It was a little bit of a slower chapter, kind of bridging the gap. We had a really exciting, action-packed chapter in Chapter 7. This kind of gives us time to breathe and sets up the next step in this whole story. As always, I thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, and if there's any book that you would be interested in hearing an abridged version of, go ahead and comment on that. Once again, thanks for hanging out with me today, and may the Force be with you.